Alright, well, here we go, everybody. What this video is about is how to maximize the materials that you use for shipping. And what I'm mainly talking about is styrofoam or whatever insulator that you put inside your box to form the outside wall. I know you can use styrofoam, and there's more expensive stuff that's rated for the houses, insulation, rigid insulation, if you will. Anyway, the first thing you want to do, and I will explain everything as we go to cutlistplus.com, and there's a free trial download. You only get 14 days, so I'll explain all as we go. Okay, so you launch the program, and here's what comes up. And again, I'll explain it as you go, and you'll understand it a lot better. The very first thing you want to do is go to materials up here, okay? And add new material and go to sheet good because we're using a sheet, and you would type in whatever there. Now I have styrofoam down here, okay, and you put in the dimensions. The sheets I get are 3/4 of an inch thick. That's not really important for this application. It is important for you though, to you're going to have to do some math to require. I'll get into that, but it's important to you. The width of the sheets are 14.5. The length is 48. The box I'm using as an example today is a priority medium flat rate box. Dimensions are 8.5 by 11 by 5.5 inches tall. So the next thing you do, and again, I'll explain this all we go. So once you get this set up, as a custom size, then you go to parts. And the very first thing you want to do is add a part and go over here to material name, pull it down, and well, there's new 1 and new 2, but anyway, I'm choosing styrofoam because that's originally what I plugged in there. I don't know why the others are in there. Then you want to add a part. So let's keep in mind, every box is going to need a top and bottom. I didn't cap it, but whatever. All right, we already know the sheets are 8.5, which it'll. Whoops. Why did it add it there? Oh well, we'll come back. Doesn't matter. 8.5 by 11. If you put 8.5, it automatically substitutes it to 8.5 by 11. Okay. Everything is going to need a long side. Now, I'm assuming your box is probably not perfectly square. It'd be great if it was a 7 by 7 or an 8 by 8. You'd have a whole lot less work to do. But anyway, mine's not. So, why do I have a part up here? Let me just X that out. I don't know why that's. I don't know what I'm doing. Alright. Anyway, that should have been deleted. Alright, anyway, back to 1 and 2. Just right click and hit delete. So we got the top and the long side. Now, the long side, we're going to make that a length of 11. Okay, because we might as well match up this. That way we can get two pieces out of the same one. Now the width of it is 3.75 inches, or 3 3/4, 3 or 3.75, whatever. It'll convert it. How did you get that, Scott? Okay, well, we're going to go the 11 inches across. Keep in mind the thickness that we talked about. If you got a bottom that's 3/4 of an inch thick and a top is 3/4 of an inch thick, and the box is 5.5 inches, you have to subtract both 3/4 from it. Okay? So in other words, you've got an inch and a half from the width or thickness from the top, and an inch and 3/4, so that's a total of an inch and a half. So what I'm getting at, you take an inch and a half, you subtract it from 5.5. Normally you'd come up with 4, but I found that when you do 4, sometimes the boxes are hard to close. So I actually just do a width of 3 3/4 inches. And again, that'll make more sense. I might have to do a follow-up video if anybody's not quite getting it. But, you've got 3/4 inch on the bottom, 3 3/4 inch coming up, another 3/4 of an inch, and roughly that's almost 5.5 inches. It's a little bit under, okay? So, anyway, now we got to have a short side. Alright. Yeah, I don't capitalize anything. So, the short side, keep in mind, it's still going to be 3 3/4 inches. Now, how do we get the length on the short side? Well, keep in mind the box is 8.5 inches wide, right? So you subtract 3/4 because, again, of the thickness that you're going to have from the long sides. Um, so you're going to subtract 3/4 twice, which is 1.5 inches. So basically, if you subtract 1.5 inches from 8, you end up with, or 8.5, you end up with 7. Whoops. I hope I'm not confusing anybody. I'm hoping this makes sense. So once we got all this, let's just say for giggles, you got to have 2 tops, you got to have 2 long sides, and 2 short sides. Okay? Just for giggles, we're just going to tell it to make all this out of one board. It's all you have to do is go to Layout, click on Layout, and bam, there you go. Now, by default, description is not on. If you turn it off, that may help you where we name the sides. Now, there's our original sheet, and our original sheet, again, the original sheet is 14.5 inches this way by 48 inches long. Now, that is a lot of waste of space. Okay. Now, eventually, I do kind of like this and this, and I'll explain all that. But anyway, it's all you got to do is go back to parts, say, well, what if I want to get 3 copies of each? Just double click, put in 3, and just go back to layouts. Bam! Now you're getting closer. That doesn't look as bad. You've got 3 and the problem down here is 3 3/8 inches. Well, the minimum that we need is 3 3/4 inches. So 3 3/8 is a little bit under 3.5 inches. So we're not going to be able to do squat with this. So that's a lot of waste. Over here, you got 2 3/4 inches left over. I assume it's taking it from that edge. And again, you can't do nothing with it. So we're still kind of wasting materials. So for giggles, let's go ahead and tell it 4 copies each. Okay, go back to layouts. Whoa, where's everything at? Well, look on the hard right side over here. You're going to notice there's 2 different boxes, okay? Now we're going to sheets. Now what it's saying to do is go this route. That way you get your 4 long sides, your 4 tops and bottoms, and then a separate sheet short sides. And you're going to see kind of a pattern here. Well, let's just go a little bit further. Let's just put 8. Okay. Let's see where we go now. Layout. Now we come to a total of 3 different sheets. Alright, well, there's 5 tops and bottoms. There's 3. There's our 8. Now, sometimes over here, which I'll show you, it might say times 2, times 4, which would mean you need to do 1 sheet of the 1, 2 sheets of the 2, and 1 sheet of the 3. But here's kind of what I came down to that works out best for me. Now, keep in mind, we got 44 inches this way. Or I'm sorry, 48 inches. I like this layout here. I like the top and the bottom, the long side, because basically it's 1 cut, 1 cut, 1 cut, 1 cut, versus, something like this, having to go in and do all these separate cuts. So no matter what, you see you're going to be wasting material. So what I decided to do is keep the 11 and the 11, and basically I crossed that out. I don't know how to take these sheets and flip them sideways and arrange it. You know what I'm saying? It won't really let me arrange it the way I want to. So there might be a way to turn these sideways. But anyway, what I figured was going this way. I like this. Again, 2 inches down here, that's going to be waste. There's nowhere we can use 2 inches. But if we take the 11 and the 11 and put another 11 and put another 11, well, what's that? That's 44 inches, right? We know that our sheets are 48 inches long. Even taking into account, a small razor blade, we should have 4 inches left over. Well, what size do we need? Let's see. If we got 4 inches left over, hold on, a short side. Well, it's only got to be 3 3/4 inches, right? And the length is 7. Well, cool. We got 14.5 inches this way. So basically, you would end up with a 4-inch sheet like this by 14.5, which means you just trim off a 1/4 of an inch, right? That gets us down to 3 3/4 from 4. You might not even need a 1/4 of an inch because depending on your cuts, you may actually need a little less. But anyway, and then you basically almost cut it in half. You'll do 7 inches, and then you'll have basically 7.5 inches, and you just cut off the little half inch. Now you got two free um, uh, short sides, and yeah, you're still going to have this strip, from about here to here that's wasted. I don't know. You could save them. I save them because maybe you could kind of piece some together. But anyway, this is I found that one sheet, especially for the boxes I'm using, that's probably the best way to do the short size because you're still going to end up being short. But it's a whole lot easier than trying to fit all this in there. And the last part for giggles, just to kind of show you where it might recommend multiple sheets. Yeah, right here. It says 3 times, that's number 3 times 3. So you do 3 sheets of that one sheet of that, 1 sheet of that, 3. Oh, 2 and 3 are the same thing. I don't know why I just didn't say times 4, but anyway, and then that. Well, that gets out of hand. Never mind. That's a better way to do short sheets. Just turn them upside down. You have very little waste. So basically, you'd have one sheet just doing all that, and then one sheet doing this 4 times. Then you're going to end up with a strip left for the short sides. Hopefully, a lot of that made sense to you. If it didn't, leave some messages. I'm planning on filming me making boxes. I made 4 today because I got a bunch of fish going out this week. I may make some more with the diagram, but keep in mind this is just one box. This is a medium-sized box. Then you can go up to the print button up here and just print off. When you go to print, by default, all selections are chose. Go to selected sections and click on layouts, and that way it'll just print out the layouts. Now it will print out 4 sheets in this case. But not really these. So I basically printed out something like this, and I just put an X through. And then I made, I knew that I could carry that over, and then I X'd out these and knew that I could carry those over, and basically get an almost perfect sheet with just a little bit left over and a little strip, and have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 24 short pieces. Well, it'll be a long time before you need to waste a thing on short sides anyway. So that's an idea. Again, you get a 14-day trial. This program is really pricey. It's pretty advanced. I just showed you the simplest way that I figured it out. Took a few hours, but passing the savings on to you. And anyway, hopefully that will help. Now, keep in mind, a large box, I would take the big 5 or 6 sizes that you normally use, if you use that many. Like a short priority box, you'll never even fit styrofoam in there. You'd be lucky to fit a little bag of snails. If you use large boxes a lot, which I'm going to run these things on some large boxes, and then maybe you use 7x7s, or maybe you use a custom size box, whatever. Since you got a 14-day free trial, I would simply do all of them and then print off, when you decide what diagrams work, and just keep them above your workbench or whatever area you do all your packing in, and that way you can refer to them and quickly say, oh yeah, here's how I cut everything perfect, and don't waste as much material, because I've been wasting a ton over the last year and a half, and I was determined to find a way of doing it. One last thing, I did try to save a file earlier on my work. I wasn't going to use it to show you all. I wanted to show you in real time, but for whatever reason, I don't think it saved it. Maybe because this is a demo version, I could not find it anywhere. So I would kind of suggest that basically you kind of do the same. So work on one box at a time, and then when you finally get it down to whatever, basically print off, and then you can either exit out or just go to File, and New, and then start on the next dimensions. I think 14 days is plenty to give it a try, because otherwise it's a nightmare. I could not find any other programs that would do this. So anyway, I want to say thank you very much. Y'all have a blessed day. Give a thumbs up. Give a like. Say, give a shout out to a brother. Please subscribe, people. I need some subscribers, the more I get, eventually I get monetized, and then I can work on new projects and keep, helping out any way I can. I want to keep adding fish. I want to sell you all fish, give you all the best guppies in the world. All right, thanks a lot. Y'all have a blessed day.